eager to kind of get used to it. It's all the way to the right on yours, Kaylee. It's a tap. You got it. You'll feel it click. Just click and release. It's indented.
I don't know.
You got it?
What's that?
Nope, you didn't. So it's right where my thumb is. Quick tap. All right. Everybody else got theirs up and running? Hudson, you good? Perfect. So make sure we've got a square. Yep. All right. So let's talk about who the heck these people were. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues, everybody. I need to know which Charles is coming through. So, with that said, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. We're going to move on. If I don't bring it up, they will do it for me very angrily through a spirit box, if you guys are getting my point. If they just want that recognition of me coming here every night. Now, we're going to talk about Eliza. She has a much better story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, of course, do not expect numbers from the colonial times that she came from, like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age. Kind of a creepy age gap in the 1700s, definitely a creepy age gap now, yes.
They like went to 12.5 and then shot down.
That's why it's called ghost hunting. They don't stand still. So that's beautiful. 12.5 is the new baseline for you, so don't give me anything below that 12 and a half. Do I need to explain what the EMF is like right away so we know what kind of numbers we're looking at, or do you want me to explain them before we leave? Do we want to see how high they go before I freak anybody out like Haley? Sorry, she's like my one person that's a little anxious. Is she our 14th person, by the way? Who's the additive?
I think we just forgot somebody.
We just forgot one.
Yeah, we just forgot to add.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll explain those before we leave the space. Let's get back to Eliza. She married Charles because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all his children home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, and instead she stayed put and got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of love. There's no foul play. Do not poke the bear if you're going to be asking her questions about her marriage. So kind of keep that in mind. She was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere because it's planted all over town. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. I guarantee you somebody's wearing it tonight because that's how we use it. When Eliza got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with it. She had to learn from her slaves and servants how to keep it cultivated. And when she figured it out, because it's not always hot here, she had to make the dye. When she did that, she moved it to a cash crop plantation just south of here by the Stono River. Then, she got a hold of her father and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So this is something absolutely unheard of. That's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. Every type of spirit box is going to, like I said, get a set of focus questions. So kind of keep that in mind. And by the way, you guys don't need to have those antennas up. I would actually prefer if you didn't have them up so high.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's only just going to give you more gobbledygook.
Oh, cool. I don't
Yeah.
want that.
Yep, exactly. So, not to mention, I don't want them to break off so we don't get a signal at all, if that makes sense. Yeah, that would be bad. It's
I don't know
happening.
if this is relevant, but what you were just talking about fits that word.
It does. It's vague. I would want something else with it to
Okay.
verify it.
All right.
But yeah, you're on the right track. So let's kind of go through the spirit boxes and kind of give them a series of questions. If you're not getting or answers to your direct questions, cherry pick off of somebody else's. It does work out that way. Remember, we don't know where the answers are going to go. So, Jason, and where's the other red one? Keep losing it. Katie. I had the name down. I just couldn't find it. So Jason and Katie, I'm going to give you guys the same set of questions. I'm going to probably pair this up because a lot of these spirit boxes work the same way.
Yeah.
Eliza's death. It's going to be how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Those are the 4 majors that we commonly get answers to around here. So
Okay.
those would be your focus questions. Next spirit box that we have is going to be Randy
Yep.
and her.
I got the number 24.
She didn't die at the age of 24.
Okay, I don't.
So I'm gonna write that one down just because it might be relevant later on. So where's the other earbud one? Who has the other earbud? Flynn, right? All right. So Flynn and Randy, you guys have similar style spirit boxes as well. So the mansion's not here anymore. So you can ask what happened to it and when did that happen. Obviously, a specific date is what we're looking for here. Normally, if we get the what, we will get 2 or 3 numbers out of the when. The reason why you have these kind of set of questions, very simple, is because your devices only give 1 and 2 syllables out at a time. So that's the reason why for that one. So the Ouija board and the word generator list. So where are those folks at? So, Kai. Get it? Melissa, right? Nice. Kai and Melissa, you two kind of have the same set of information. You're looking for similar things. So Eliza that we just spoke about is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So he had 2 wives named Eliza. One died in January. 5 months later, he marries the one we just talked about. So kind of a jerk move, right? Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. You are mainly looking for those initials, E-L-P, in that order. No mixing up. I want to make sure we get it in that order.
Okay.
But with yours, specifically, we're looking for which Eliza are we dealing with
I
by
heard
asking the maiden name.
24 again and something about a crash.
That's an interesting piece.
Yeah.
It's not relevant to here, but it is an interesting piece. I'll talk about that one later. So
Okay.
24 and crash. You're also going to have the marriage questions because yours also comes up with numbers. It will give you numbers spelled out. So you can ask her how old she was, how old Chuck was, and how long they were married. So those are kind of similar questions that come out of those. I think that covers all of the communication devices. Anybody else have a spirit box that I missed? There is one with an open-ended speaker.
I got this one.
All right, so yeah, that's that one. You could cherry pick off of anything that suited your fancy out of anybody else. So, because that's the one I don't normally bring out, so I don't have a separate set of questions for that style. I would mainly go after probably her death questions: how old, where, what, and what president. So those are the 4 majors that we get out of that.
I got 40. Or 40.
24 and 40.
And crash.
And crash.
Yeah.
And a 12.5 milligauss. So do we get anything higher than a 12.5?
17.5.
Nice.
How you doing that? I ain't getting nothing.
Well, Randy's was going off and then it spiked.
All right, so what's going to happen here is I'm going to have to keep Kai behind so I can show how to use that device a little bit more specific. Everybody else, start spreading out, stay away from vehicles. That's the main priority here with this many people. I'm going to bounce around with everybody, see what's going on, do one full round robin, and bring us all back to go over the answers. Yes. Chris, you're getting the gist of how that guy works, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, much.
Something about 424. Yeah, another 24. I don't know what that's doing with that.
the people so far.
I remember seeing the Matrix lines on my ceiling.
It almost looks like arms and a head.
Yeah, what is that?
Huh?
There's something. Triangle.
Looks like he's moving his arm.
It looks like a goblin head.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just getting the edge of the wall.
Alright, let's bring everybody back. We'll see how this is all coming together.
Ooh, that's creepy. I wouldn't want that one. I just take pictures.
I'm walking a puddle.
Alright, if you have a video camera, you want to give your hands a break, go ahead and feel free to stop your videos. That way you can kind of relax here to hunt down my other good friend, Remy. And you guys can all guess what kind of animal Remy is.
Rat.
So, Remy, we're in his domain, so if he moves around, he's not going to go near us. He just kind of stays in the brush, just so you guys know around us. But Jackie actually belongs to one of the churches nearby, and they do that to try to, they say that the devil stays in the corners of the cemetery, so they have a bunch of cats that roam around the cemetery to try to chase out the devils. That's the rumor around that. But I think he's just there just to get rid of the rats. So, she's trying to get more. Is she okay?
Oh yeah, she's good.
Okay.
Probably dropped something.
She dropped
She dropped her vape.
Yeah, don't lose that. But anyway, video cameras. With yours specifically now, Randy, so when people come by, you're just basically going to grab
Yeah,
the top
just put
handle.
it
And we want to get some footage in here, not sideways, grab the top handle, boop, and then you want to like just hold it like a suitcase. But everybody else kind of like keep it at belly level, if you guys are getting my point, so that way we're not looking very suspicious down here, if that makes sense. So Kaylin's got it down perfect, like she's got it. But this is Philadelphia Alley, in case you didn't read the sign. So Randy, I think, read the sign. He's like, we're going to Philadelphia. But anyway, this used to be called Duelers Alley. So this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So I say some of the duels because it was illegal during the 1700s, and they had to go find their hiding spot to go let this event actually occur. So this was one of those spaces. Every ghost tour comes down here, like I said, because we can all prove that this specific duel occurred. And I'm going to tell you the same story that everybody else does, but with a little bit more detail because you're ghost hunting and not doing ghost like marshmallow and campfire type kind of stories. So let's kind of get into it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you with spirit boxes and you're still listening in, if you get the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence. It's part of the doctor's name, and yes, we get it here all the time. But anyway, if you guys are getting my point with that. Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancee, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. He tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not. He's going to start his medical practice here. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. He had a gunman inside the building where he was supposed to stay. Somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen. By the way, does anybody else smell something very specific, like very sweet? Very weird. Anyway, sorry, I do that all the time. So you guys gotta like catch me, like Nick, get back on track here. But anyway,
Smell like gum.
No, it smells flowery.
Flowery, yeah.
I got a whiff. Just a minute ago.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I thought it was perfume.
Okay, could have been. I thought somebody may have been vaping, but I didn't see any puffs. But anyway, but this guy walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs, and this is part of where I stop on purpose because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. The letters R.I. were coming through on those red spirit boxes and the ones with the earbuds all the time. Like somebody was spelling something for us with the letters R.I., but that's all we would hear out of the spelling. So I decided to buy that Ouija board device. That's exactly why we have it. Normally during this time, in the past 6 months, I would say 4 or 5 times, we've actually had the letters R.I. come up on that device as I'm telling you about Ralph. So I kind of take that for what it is, consecutively. So those are the letters we're specifically looking for, are the letters R.I. in that order. Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street, and you can rent a room from them. They're friends of mine, and you'll be safe. Doctor took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. His medical practice is taking off, and he's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's cash. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every haunted city has a cliched whistling ghost. We have one too. There's actual proof of this one, but we're going to get into that as we kind of move along. You can hopefully find something for that for yourself in all of your media. But anyway, Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. They talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III from Shakespeare one night, and they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. Gets very ugly. They go their separate ways. Now, Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this shit and somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took their 10 paces. The doctor turned, pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He shot his one shot into the air. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. But Ralph, he has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die either, but he drops to the ground, and his friends picked him up and carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Why did he refuse medical treatment? It's 1786. Gunshot wounds were a lot different than what we think of them as now. He probably tried to bleed out the lead poisoning from the bullet wound himself, and instead, he failed and died. So, every ghost tour will tell you, do you hear how quiet it is right now? It's always this quiet. A busy Saturday afternoon, this is what this alley sounds like unless that air conditioning is running over there, which is very loud. They say to listen for the whistles of the doctor. Good thing for you is we have 3 video cameras and my voice recorder running right now. If there's going to be a whistle in the background, it's going to be on one of those 4 devices. What I will also tell you is that if you're going to try this on your own and go all the way down to the end of the alley, I can't take you down there because I've actually been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that in just a second because that's the fun part of the story. But anyway, if you're going to try it on your own, and I got Tritt's attention back there, and he's like, yeah, let's talk about how Nick almost got arrested. That's great. Anyway, his eyes are as big as plates back there. Turn on your voice recorders on your phone and listen for those whistles in the background. What I will tell you is that every local also knows this story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single morning once I'm done with your guys' data going back to my vehicle. So, and I do it especially since I got kicked out of here to mess with any other tour that might actually be down here. Let's get into that because Tritt's really excited back there. Anyway, but I still think I got most of your guys' names down. There's a couple of German I'm screwing up, but I got you guys mostly down. Kind of surprised at myself. Patting myself on the back over here. But anyway. This alley didn't go all the way through this way. This should also, by the way, give you an idea of how I actually piece things together. There was a wall halfway between us and where Cumberland ends, which is exactly why I stopped right here. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. This used to be called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley, which means the bricks that all the way at the other end are older than the ones we're standing on. Those bricks at the other end are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child done at the end and some fingerprint swipes and other bricks. I used to take people all the way through to go show off those bricks and kind of go over the history. Not as a piece of like, hey, we're going to find a ghost, because I treat that brick with the handprint the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. November 26th of 2020. I take my entire team of 10 down there. They're all huddled around that damn brick waiting for something to happen from all of their devices. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen, and I'm also trying to be respectful because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I didn't know I was out of bounds. The new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on a tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years and higher management for Walmart. And if you can kind of get the gist of why I'll never work another day on Thanksgiving in my life. So, but anyway, the next day was November 28th. So I called my partner that I had at the time and I told him what happened. He's laughing at me. He's like, dude, you can't go down that far. You can only go down halfway or you got to reroute the group. So it's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. And I told my team, I don't believe in the next story. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next. And somebody said, well, they actually heard something on their spirit box. They heard the name Anne coming out of a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. It was the famous female pirate Anne Bonny, which is obviously who we're going to be discussing next. So I'm like, all right, maybe we will get something. The next we get up there, I told them what little bit I did know about piracy. Somebody else heard the number 300. I don't know what it means, just like the number 24 earlier. I wrote it down. I'm going to research it tomorrow. We were there November 28th of 2020, and Bonnie's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720, the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. Whoa. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You guys are all excited about that. My shoulders strumped and went, damn it. So here's the reason why. We're going to let these books pass through. How you doing, guys?
Hey, good.
Hey.
Good. So, master's degree in creative writing. Pirate stories are based out of pirate lore. I like facts. I like things, even if it's fiction, I like it to be based off of some kind of truth. And especially when I'm doing investigations, I want to make sure we're trying to get as much factual data as possible. Pirate lore doesn't give us that unless you read a shit ton of books, which is exactly what I've been doing ever since that day. I've read more books on piracy than I ever wanted to in my entire life. I've played video games on piracy that I never wanted to play. I watched more documentaries on pirates that I never wanted to watch, just to make sure like what we're discussing has at least a minimum of 2 resources to make sure what we're doing is as accurate as possible. It is a hitter. Yeah, Black Flag. I just started it again yesterday. I had the night off because it rained. So I was like, oh, let me start this one up back up again. I'm a big AC fan too, by the way. I love them all. But anyway, back to the next location. It's a hit or miss. We're either going to get a lot or nothing. So Pinckney Mansion site, little on the lighter side. I'm always honest with you guys. I don't know what you guys are hearing or capturing here because obviously I'm talking and we're not really discussing. So once we get over there, you're going to get things from this location and hopefully from the Anne Bonny story that I'm going to tell you. So before we leave the space, I don't know, Jessica's getting bored over there. I gotta wake her up. Gotta get her moving and working again. Somebody's gonna have to swap a device with Jessica so that she doesn't have the boring picture taking all night long. The gate behind me. Normally I take the, just so you guys know, the K2 meter. Who has the K2 meter? Kevin?
Yeah.
Kevin and the picture taker are normally one person. So that's usually how I set up my groups of 10.
We're
But
husband and wife, so it works.
that
out
actually
well.
worked out. I split you guys up. Who's the better half? I won't get into that question. But the gate. This gate, not a whole lot of people know why it's here. Remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? In the event there was a loser to a duel, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on this side. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to the end, to Queen Street, and double back to get up to the cemetery with dead weight. Remember, a loser is a dead guy. Like, that's heavy weight. So this was a shortcut that they created. The wrought iron that you see in there is probably put there in the early 1900s, but you can see by the top archway that it was actually part of the original alleyway wall. So very interesting piece. I call it the Death Gate. Nobody else has named it or dubbed it that, but I can't even remember where the hell I found it. What's that?
It worked.
Yeah, Death Gate works. Yeah. All right, we ready to learn about some rated R pirates?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of you got my damn joke. My bad joke.
Okay, I love you. Bye. You got mad. I told her I had to go. She's like, oh, you chat.
How should I know to be okay?
Well, we don't sleep.
Got up to 3.1.
You got a 3.1?
Who got what number?
3.1.
So up to like a 5 to a 7 is because of the lampposts.
I also heard the number, or I also heard across 6,000.
I'm that kid who has a cough every 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. You guys must be the ones on the list. I noticed like there was a little uptick.
Yeah. Yeah. He was checking it out.
I love it. Normally, like, middle of July, we'll call like 30 to 40 tours. That's why I like to see for that trend.
I saw a little guy run. No, that's a sign.
Randy, this wall that you're going to is not your friend. It's an ivy wall covered in leaves. So, big head up all over it. Where I get to set the bag down for a little bit. Anything? If it's open, go for it. People use it all the time. We get anything on those spirit boxes? What do we got going on?
Porta potty when we're getting them.
Yep, they're all fighting over it. I like how he's getting fast. Like, hey, there's somebody in there. Video cameras, let's get those things up and running. How's our word list
We
coming?
switched.
Give me the last 5 terms.
One, my mother, separate, silent, and pit.
Hit?
Yeah.
PITT?
Just,
Yeah, just PIT.
Oh, that's
Any
a,
other words being heard on the spirit boxes?
that's a street.
I don't feel like it. I know, it's very like.
Not easy. Spirit boxes are actually the hardest job out here.
Yeah, they are.
That's actually kind of my expertise. So when I get called to another investigative team, it's because of what I'm able to do with the spirit boxes. You made it out. Good job.
Yeah, I should have scanned it first.
this one says like syllables at a time. I've heard like New York, like it's 1 or 2 syllables. Yeah, so it's a lot of radio chatter. You'll hear some songs you might know on radio. One was like, oh my god. Just like, all right. She did. She got so excited. And what number am I looking for?
Anything above 2.5 and we're not around lights and stuff.
Okay. And do I need to do anything here?
He said every now and then switch it. 1, 2, and just see if the numbers are on the same frequency.
I mean, I was right about that. Yeah, because your phone gives off pulses.
The only other thing I've heard is get a quarter pounder.
I heard pulses.
I don't know why. They
Probably me. Probably me.
4 pounder, it's me.
Oh, we walked by that big McDonald's.
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald.
We did.
Yeah.
Did you go in there?
Somebody else heard something on a spirit box. What was it? Oh, that was the word list. I'm sorry. All right. Trent, you got anything going on that little guy back there?
A bit of Conway, a little bit of Reba.
A little bit of Reba.
Nothing else?
All right, so this is where I get to set the bag down. Not that the bag is heavy tonight, but this story can be a little animated. So as you guys are rotating around through the porta potty, I'm just going to go ahead and get started if you guys are good with that. Every tour, a lot of tours come through here too, and they're here to discuss the little tiny building up front with the crosses on it. We're going to discuss it too, only because it's the reason why we're here. So those are not crosses on that building. I know we did hear a cross 6,000, so Jason actually heard that on the way here. So again, I kind of took that as a cross and then the number 6,000, so I don't know if that's going to have any relevance, but we also have the My Mother piece on the word generator list right now, and that's an interesting piece if something else is going to pop up with that. Just because I want to say we're really close to another story. There's like 15 stories on this corner. I stick to the pirate story, but anyway, back to the crosses. Sorry, I'll go off on tangents, guys, because I could do this all night long. But the crosses are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with what an earthquake bolt is, it's a turnbuckle. So it goes all the way through the roof, and on the other side, it looks exactly the same way. So if we have another earthquake, you can tighten them, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up so it doesn't incur any further damage after the earthquake. Sounds like a great idea, but that shit don't work. The reason I bring it up is because those earthquake bolts, those very crude ones on that front of that building, those are the very first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, simply because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. So you were correct, those are earthquake bolts in that building as well. They're just a little bit more modern. But those very crude ones is because of that building over in the front. That building was finished in 1713. It was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start a new life. So that's why we're here. For Randy, who watches all the TV shows, he'll tell you that they use some kind of teddy bear device. It has a bunch of motion sensors in it and voice talkers, and they do that when they're trying to talk to a child ghost, simply because I smell that smell again, by the way.
It's hand sanitizer. She's spraying hand sanitizer.
Okay. That's what it is. Bingo. I'm like, it's the exact same smell. I know what it is.
Lavender.
Got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, put me to sleep up here. But that child toy is basically so that way that the child recognizes it. This is one of the few buildings we have in this relative era of when it was being built. It's still here. So we're here because this is what I call a familiar building to Anne Bonny. So this is a familiar haunting. Kind of gives you that idea. So the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like a government small building, 10 years? No, not at all. So anyway, the history begins right in the middle of its construction. So try to follow me. There's a lot of weird little pirate crazy chick twists in this, so I'll slow down on those twists. So 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, I got some head nods, good. Yes. So the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that she kicked them out of the country by boat? It's 1708, there's no planes. So kind of anyway, they landed in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they landed. Dad bought a plantation, mom dies pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to sell anything from that plantation to keep things afloat. So hence the familiar building. Now, with that said, back home in Ireland, Anne was said to be a badass even back then. They say at the age when she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, there's no exact numbers here, that she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. We have had the terms servant, knife, and belly all show up in the same evening from where the other two people didn't know what the other two people had, if that makes sense. So, fast forward, the building's done in 13, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown in 1715. Anne is pretty stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love, so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. So, first guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful. We're going to go through every one of them. That's what makes the story interesting. So, first guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going. We've mentioned Anne's pirate name already. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica, got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her name came from. However, when she gets down there, she realizes that James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy, a coward. A spy for the British, no less. So, a few years go by and she falls in love again. This is John Rackham, but they call him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy is. So, Calico Jack has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of the crew of that ship, but you can't put a female on that crew. Does anybody know why? And keep it family friendly. Bad luck. Thank you. It is bad luck. So, With that said, I get a lot of raunchy answers to that, so I have to keep it toned down a little bit. Anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world, but now she's a pirate and she's good to go. But most of us are adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She is a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. And then they're going to vote Jack off the ship as captain. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here, come back later, we'll figure it out later. So she comes and goes and has the baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happened to the baby. None of the books I've ever read about pirates have ever described what happened to that child. So, by the way, ask away. When you guys are out and about in this field, asking her questions. I don't know what the answer is, but if you get a direct answer, it might be true. I don't know. But anyway, the whole relevant part of that story, she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack angry. Now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the crew, and they're going to vote him off the ship. So while he was away giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting because that's who Anne is. She wants to make him even more mad. Guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack captured. So, now we have 2 ladies, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take them down. Rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. Obviously, that's not going to go very well against a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at Captain Jack and she says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." So the word dog shows up on your spirit boxes a lot. Some people even claim to hear dogs barking on spirit boxes on the way in here. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk crew that wouldn't fight. Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they shouted out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home, she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending. We don't know much about her after her pirate career. And a lot of rumors will tell you she went up to Virginia and changed her name up there. Others will tell you that she stayed right here in South Carolina or Charleston to narrow it down even further. We'll never know. And we don't even know where she's buried. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books tell you that it was fever. I say bullshit. Let's call it scurvy. Let's make it romantic. Why the hell not? Questions I left out on purpose. I'm not going to assign any questions. You're going to cherry pick and use whatever you want to. You can also, this is not a prominent English woman you need to tiptoe around. You can poke the bear in here. As I'll actually kind of encourage it. Like, get some damn answers out of this woman. This is not like, "Hey, Eliza, like, what can you tell me about your house?" Like, this is, "Hey, Anne, what was going on with Calico Jack's ship?" You know, those kind of mentality. Change your voice tone a little bit. Know your ghost. I left out the name of me and Bonnie's parents on purpose, so that we had something to work with. That's the father and his mistress. I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland, I left that out on purpose. And the color of her hair, which you can obviously guess is red. She's a very Irish lady. Green eyes, red hair. You guys get the point. Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you want to. As far as spirit boxes go, stay away from the 2 measly vehicles we have in here. I'll do the same thing like what we did before. If it's light, like what we had at the Eliza Pinckney Mansion site, then obviously I'll wrap it up quickly, give us the answers. And the last stop that we go to is kind of like a giant surprise. It's not in the same manner of what we've been doing. So I'll be surprising Randy, because this is his night, where you guys are going to have a blast with this. I can't wait to see have you guys see what I'm going to do to him. Yeah, I'm all about it. But we're going to have to change things up a little bit when we get to our last stop. But let's spread out. Let's have some fun in here. Just stay out of the way of the other tours and the vehicles. Let's do this. Okay. Did we figure out that EMF reading? Was it from the phone? Yep. So yeah, record the entire thing. You got it. Nice and slow. We have caught, unfortunately there was a vehicle on the way tonight over there. We've caught somebody twice, 2 different nights, sitting on that garbage can. So like they look like shoulders, you know, then the tops of their legs. You get the point. And we were able to debunk it because I normally walk around it when somebody claims to see something. Right. So that way there's a point of reference and I'm blocking anything that's in the background. Okay. But stay away from trees, mainly this ivy wall. The trees are always going to give you that gobbledygook. See how it's stretching up here? And then, of course, this guy is just a nightmare. Like, that's not going to give us anything. Okay. Chris is pretty into this too, I can see.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's all about it. I
Yeah,
love
he
it.
is. I got him hooked. Oh, somebody else coming in.
Yeah. He'll probably get faster. So did she show you how to get to the pool?
Yeah.
That's the year. That's right. It's a definitive number. I want something else.
Yeah, I think so.
Just say I didn't carry nothing on my nigga. Joe, you got it.
Because like I didn't catch it when it was right here, but then the peak would move up to 7 for a second and then it would go away. So the peak said 8 right here. I mean, the peak said 8 up here, but then it had it right. I see. I want to see it here. Hey, Dad.
Huh?
Lily's gonna take a picture of us real quick. You're gonna have to pause for just a minute and just look that way and say cheese.
Jeez.
Get it?
Oh, I think it's a good one. You got your little ghost cans.
I mean, I look
and-
disgusting, but
What are you
it's
talking
all right.
about?
Hey.
You look
It's all right.
wonderful.
Those are apartment buildings. We don't want to be shining.
It's the glasses.
My glasses?
My glasses.
So, do you want to take them off
Yep.
and redo it?
Yep. I'm like, yes, I do. Thank you. I'm gonna fix my hat.
Hold it up like you're looking at your things.
All right, ready?
You want to turn and smile? Yeah. Ready? Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Bang.
Okay.
That's a good one.
God, it's worse than the first one. I'll keep the first one. I don't like either one. I like the rest.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have no. I would
You
be
get some little cans.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we'll all just have a good time.
I'll filter them. It'll be all right.
Yeah. So I'm getting messages.
I saw somebody walking over there on this, and it didn't pick up the sticks.
Oh, you
But-
switched with who had that one?
Chris.
Yeah, I switched with Kaylin. Just trying to-
Okay, guys, come on out. Come on. Don't be hiding. Oh. Had somebody standing on that roof. Ain't there no more.
Yeah, I think this guy's having fun with you because he's giving you more time.
I thought somebody was walking right over there on the other side of that white car, but it didn't come up as a stick figure because it was too far away.
Sure, it wasn't a real person.
I didn't see it go past,
Oh, gotcha.
and I didn't see it go into the building.
So it just like disappeared.
Yeah.
It's a museum now. Like, it's super fascinating. Like,
that and I traded it off because I never got
I
nothing.
traded with Billy because it hurt my arm. It was off, or if you see a dot, you can move dot because it says in the dot.
Every time I get them, they laugh. Katie, what do you got? I haven't talked to you in a minute.
The name's AJ. That's looking for
You had Mary as well.
Mary, yeah.
What were you asking specifically?
Mainly just names, and then I keep asking her what happened to her kid.
I keep seeing a guy over there walking back and forth, and there's nobody there. I mean, I see it in here,
Mm-hmm. But you don't see
but
them out there?
I don't see the stick.
And it's moving?
Yeah, it's gone now. But it went from left to right.
Interesting. Well, as long as it's recording,
Yeah,
we'll have it. I'll take
I
a
hope
look.
so.
I'll make a note to make sure I watch that.
Okay.
And like dive into it.
And I saw something up there, but I think it was that tree.
Yeah, you got a lot of depth with the buildings.
Right.
Oh. I got a 9.4.
Ooh.
Where's your phone?
It's right here.
Okay.
Yeah, you keep them out of the way now.
Yeah. I noticed it don't pick up.
I get like a syllable here and there.
Chris, you getting anything out of there?
Oh, a few names. 17. Okay, right behind it was 13. It's 17, then 13, and then Prospect.
This is like somebody who's hitting the skin.
Do you remember what year the building was finished? 1713.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't together, like second in between the 17 and the 13.
But sometimes you're going through different.
Yeah, they got to grab what they can.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like
going.
Bumblebee from Transformers.
Yeah, you're going through different wavelengths. So, yeah.
Shannon, Michelle, you two got anything going on?
Nothing.
Tri-Field's getting stuff. Why aren't you?
Well, I just went from 0, 2.9, and then it went bit down. That's it.
I'll take a 2.9. That's actually high for this.
I mean, there's nothing here.
I just got a 2.9, but other than that, it's been 0.
Shannon, anything else? I know you're new.
I don't know exactly what I was doing because this is new. I just traded off to it.
Any voice you hear. Any voice you hear at all. If it's a song lyric, I want to know what they're saying. If it's a DJ, what are they saying?
Oh, I get a bunch of that.
But what have you heard? Anything that stuck out to you?
See, I told you at the home, right?
Yep, 25.
24 at home. And there was something else that I started to say a minute ago. I'm like, well, that was stupid.
If it's stupid, it's usually something we want.
Mm-hmm.
It's that dumb stuff.
Okay.
It's okay. You'll think of it.
Yeah, other folks are like,
Does anybody else have anything else crazy going on with their device?
yeah, because I kept hearing all kinds of like, I was like, oh, that's just like a song stuck for a minute. I was just,
And you got still stuck Jessica with the camera.
we've asked to trade with her. She won't trade.
I'm snapped.
Did you get
She's good at taking pictures.
on a full moon night? It's right next to the steeple.
Elijah 905 pole.
I just got not like I was fixing to say that as you started talking.
Want to switch?
The DJ.
Sure, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, though.
See how there's.
Just look for extra sticks that aren't people.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's two there, and there's one there.
It was either
It might not pick him up because it's far away.
No, it doesn't. You're right. Caitlin, you look like a stick. Could you do a dance? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, you're so creepy looking. Do a dance. Do a little jig. Oh, it's great. Oh, that's so weird.
And then the father just said,
Oh, this isn't so bad. It's kind of light.
Yeah, them two did not get along at all.
no, that's what he said.
Oh wow, that is cool looking.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
That's what I told her to do. I'm like, could you dance, please?
Where do you guys see the next spot with that one? That's where we caught most of the things that I can say are actual paranormal from that camera.
This one?
Out of the next location.
Okay. Poppy's just going around. You want to switch? You want to switch? He wants to try them all.
It's okay. We're gonna really mess with him today.
So
You guys are gonna
cute.
love this.
This is like the
owner's father.
time of his life.
I've gotten like 4
What do
words
you got?
since last time.
Where are they?
Equal, Chloe, card, and trailer. So
They're very random words.
yeah.
They are.
Okay, that was weird. Spirits comfortable with people.
Oh.
Lots
This
of people with us
is a
I
police
know.
officer, I believe.
Is that police? Yep. All right, wait. Let's all come over this way.
Mom, look, the word finally changed.
Cool.
Get those cameras lowered.
Okay.
Things can get a little funny with the. All right, let's all come over here, especially with those cameras.
Will it be phrases like this song?
Babe.
Because that was anytime you want
the
me.
camera because the police officer.
All right. So let's go back here.
My dad wanted to switch. Dang it. So
Please lower it. We do have police officers in there.
Lower the camera down.
lower the camera.
I just want to make sure we're not those people. So let's kind of cover the answers. I'm excited about a lot of things. Let's go ahead and get that thing muted, Chris. You figure out what we need to do. That's good. So I'm excited about a lot of things going on in here. First off, where's the tripod meter again? That's the EMF detector that was giving us the readings. So we actually did get a couple of readings out of that guy tonight. So I'm pretty surprised by that. You didn't get anything out of yours?
No, I don't know. I got it from my daughter.
We just switched.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I told him the last one I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did get that one written down, but we got all the way up to a 7 or 9. Like, this is not the Pinckney Mansion site. I'm actually excited about those numbers here. We're not going to get those 40s and 50s like we do, at every location. That's an anomaly over there. So we did get a lot of terms that it was kind of, so it was Jackson, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if anything pops up next to that, but the reason why I'm excited about Jackson is because on the other side of this wall, John Calhoun is buried, who served underneath Andrew Jackson. So again, if something else pops up with like, oh, did we not get, nope, it didn't come up. I was thinking about the number of president that he was. He was our 7th vice president, 7th president, so the number 7 did not show up. We did get the word July 4th come up, right? So we heard July 4th. So that's relative to the doctor. We normally get double 7s here because his birthday is July 7th. So again, take that for what it's worth. Not to mention, that's also, we have the 7th vice president over here. The number 7 shows up here a lot, but the July specifically, he's been doing that obviously for like the past 2 to 3 months, even though we're not close to July 2 months ago. We're still getting the month of the word July coming through. What was the other things? We had the name Mary show up, so that was pretty interesting. The name Jack showed up, so I'm excited about that because obviously we talked about Calico Jack. We did get 17 and 13 back to back, didn't we, Chris? The Power magazine was finished in 1713, so he heard those 2 numbers back to back. So that's pretty interesting, the fact that he heard those that way. I think somebody else heard the number 20 showed up while we were here as well, so that's the year that Anne Bonner's trial was, of 1720. So again, lots of small little relative things. You're probably missing a lot in real time, which is great, which means it's going to make this part an easy time for me when I'm going through your recordings. So let's kind of go over the very quick answers, and I'm going to tell you what the hell we're going to do at the next location. Because we're really going to mess with Randy's brain.
Love the right way.
Love the right way. So loving terms usually show up here. The funny thing is we normally get the song lyric of girls just want to have fun.
I got that.
We get it here all the time.
I thought we were bonding, me and
Yeah, any kind of female gender terms, like usually are a big deal over here.
Oh yeah, which I forgot to tell you, just before we went to the alleyway, I heard highway to the danger zone.
Yeah.
And we were on a little tiny highway. This is one of the few pictures of Anne Bonny you can find where she has a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast.
I don't know.
You're staring at
It's fine.
we're bonding here, so we're having to hit.
She used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. You have to remember that she was dressed like a male pirate at the time. So, and I get a lot of teenage boys on this group. I don't need angry moms leaving. You're getting my point. So the name of her parents, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick, but we also had another Mary in the story. So we had Mary Reed, the lover, and Mary
Sex.
Brennan.
What?
Was it sex or 6?
I don't know, but that's what it sounded like to me. I'm listening to you and it.
She just got this. Can everybody tell? Somebody just switched with her. She's excited. She's getting work. But Mary Brennan was actually a servant for the Cormack family. So that's a whole other 30-minute scandal that we're not even going to cover. So Calico Jack, everybody wants to see what they base Johnny Depp off of, so that's why I like, and it also reminds me to tell you the answers to what we were looking for there. This is Calico Jack. This is who they based Johnny Depp from. Believe it or not, this guy is named that because of the jackets he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. So his father was a tailor. Textiles were very important to him. So Calico Jack translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from, Calico Jack. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. I don't expect the word Kingston to come through most of your spirit boxes except for the one that Chris has, only specifically because his picks up more disembodied voices than others. The word king would actually suffice for this location. The ghosts have to use the same kind of principle of like what color is a big red barn? Blood. They have to use what they can to be able to give us the answers back. So king would actually suffice for the word generator, the Ouija board, and any other spirit boxes except for Chris's. So the name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland was named Cork. And also, obviously, you can see that Anne had the color red hair. This particular location is one of the reasons why I give you that heated warning at the top of our tour. About a year and a half ago in September, I brought my group back here, just like I normally do. Temperature is about the same as it is now, low 70s. And the kid next to me, and I had full group, 8, 9, 10 people. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost before we even get started. He's fainting. I have to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't hit the ground and hit his head. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We took him over to that wall because there's a little ledge over there. We got him to sit down, gave him a bottle of water. He's feeling better. And then I told him the story of Anne Bonny that I've already told you. It's important to know they don't know anything about Anne Bonny yet. Afterwards, this used to be the last stop. I spread everybody out and said, go have fun, have a blast. Now, them two guys pull me aside and say, hey, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed like males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the story. So, it was one of those pieces where it makes sense, but it doesn't. I can't explain it. So you have to really watch it. Like, this is why I have you guys show up early. I start asking you questions, like, are you guys coworkers? Are you family? Like, what's the deal here? Whose idea was it? Like, that way I kind of get a feel for everybody. If I do get a psychic or a medium on the tour, and if I give them a spirit box, they are not making it past the Pinckney Mansion site. There's too much EMF there, and the spirit box is way too many different types of communication on top of what they're already getting. So this is why I always say, like, I have to know who my people are and kind of get a gist of, like, who are, you know, and that's why I try to get most of your names down. I think I got, like, 90% of you guys down.
You've done really well.
So, but at the same time, that's why I give that heated warning at the top. The first time somebody ever passed out on my tour, I was in CPR class the next day. I wanted to make sure, and I carry a first aid pack with me at all times just to make sure. But again, you guys get the point. Like, that transgender story, like, that's not something I can make up. Like, it's not something I want to make up. It just so happened to happen. So I can't explain it, but it did happen. But anyway, the next space. Aren't you guys all curious what the hell I'm going to do?
Yes, like really bad.
So Randy's probably already familiar with the Estes method. Are you familiar with what this is?
A little bit, but
all right. I'll explain it then. So in a nutshell, somebody's going to give him one of the earbudded spirit boxes, and we're going to blindfold him. And we're going to put noise-canceling headphones over top of those earbuds. And then I'm going to tell the rest of you the history of that location, and he's not going to know. I'm also going to need another volunteer to kind of sit in with him because we're going to do a double blind. There's enough of you here where we can do that.
Ooh, I'll do it.
There you go.
So 2 people are going to sit out on a bench, and they're not going to know the history. When we come back, we're going to ask them 2 questions as if they're the ghost, and hopefully they're going to channel through them. We're going to film the entire thing, and they're not going to know a damn thing. They're also not going to know the damn history until they get their data back the next day. So, again, I'm not going to repeat the story twice. There's no point in doing that. You're going to get it back tomorrow. So, she's like, I'm game for that. So, there's a couple of things that go into this whole type of scenario. I'll have to give them a few tips and tricks, and we're only going to keep them under for 10 minutes. We do get some high EMF in that location, so those of you with EMF detectors, as I'm getting them set up, after I give you the history, I may spread you guys out around that park to, you know, go see if we get any EMF detection before we really get started with the Estes session. It is also a non-smoking park. I'm also a smoker, so if anybody needs to smoke, we are going about 2.5 blocks and passing by the circular church graveyard. For those of you with video cameras, if you want to get footage of that, there is said to be a ghost that walks through there. I've never caught it, but if you want to get footage, I'm not going to lose pace, so that way we can hurry up and go blindfold Randy. So I'm sure you guys are all excited to put some blindfolds on him and kind of see what the hell's going to come out of this. It is a lot of fun. And even for us on our end, it is still a lot of fun because he's not going to know anything.
Right.
That's the cool part about it. Well, actually, he's not going to know anything either.
There we go.
Put one of these next to me?
Well, we're all going to be surrounding you anyway.
Yeah.
Like, we're all going to be really tight-knit. But we're going to send 3 EMF detectors out into the field and around the park as I'm kind of getting you guys blindfolded and giving you your tips and tricks. I would say smoke them if you got them. Do you guys know any, or need to show me anything or tell me anything that you've heard or seen before we go talk?
Don't have to say it twice.
Like water seal pumps?
Haven't
I
been.
just meant like the
Hey,
smell.
Dad. It's my turn.
Sorry, Thompson's water seal.
Ty wants to try it.
Why don't you just turn it off?
Whenever you go to
And then goes treatment
But should we
We can do it right
turn it
now.
off?
like 2 separate times.
No, it's
Dad doesn't care what he has.
Well, we turn it off whenever we're switching.
Child, and then there was something else, but I can't remember it now.
Oh, well, I'll let y'all decide to do that.
Have you had the same thing the whole time, or did you switch out too?
I switched, but at the very beginning. If you want to switch with me.
What am I supposed to look for with this one?
So basically, it's supposed to spell out words.
Okay.
Or not words, more like letters because it's gonna go crazy.
What do you have to do? Nothing?
You have to. So it fills up eventually.
Yeah.
When it fills up all the way, and if it's going too fast.
Yeah. That's too
turn it-
difficult.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It took me. He had to explain it like
Yep.
13 times.
And I'm just gonna pause you and just say, never mind.
Completely
It's too
valid.
difficult.
It took me.
I like the easy ones where I don't have to do anything. I really want the one that I traded with my dad back. He's like, let me trade. And I'm like, oh. Okay. I know. My freaking dad wanted to trade. I couldn't say no to my dad. He's probably bored with it now because it doesn't do much, so. Am I supposed to not be doing something with this? I'm so confused.
You can turn it off.
How? How do I turn it off?
I
Oh,
think click that button.
We're gonna go to the Rizzy. Get my film on. What, we can film? Here, let's respray.
No, it's like, it's
No,
up here.
Should I spray your leggings?
My leggings?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to wash
Yeah,
them then. I can't wear them.
Oh, you won't need to wear them again anyway, really.
Fine, we
Yeah,
can
spray
try.
the, because they
I think they're
can.
telling a story.
All right, let's go over there first.
All right, so first time I came in here in November. By the way, cameras, other tours will pass through here, so just be cognizant of your retreats. Nobody's in here now, so we're good. But just kind of keep an eye out. But anyway, first time I came in here, I didn't know what we were gonna find. I told my 2 people that I had on a cold night because everybody else came when it was too cold. Like, let's just see what happens. Some of these
Hey,
spirit
babe.
boxers named Henry and the year 1828 specifically. I was using the word generator list that Kaylin has, and it said the word Tim on it. Behind me is Henry Timrod, born in 1828. I cannot make this stuff up. So, Henry Timrod, quick
Hey, babe.
synopsis of his life. The guy was sick for most of his life, and he was a writer. You need to know that.
Keep watching that.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Uh,
Anything else is a quite big civil war. So I want to kind of group us in a little bit. I don't want them to prove anything that I'm telling you guys. Make sure that they're remaining completely unbiased, not to mention all the other people there's a lot to learn. But at any rate, so he goes to fight for the Civil War, and his comrades were so they sent him home, knowing he was a writer, and they said, he'll be the voice of order. He'll tell people what's going on. He came home and started writing poetry about what's going on in the valley. He came home and said, well, he has a couple of competitors. That's a pretty big deal. So 2 years go by, and he has a son. His son, his name was Billy, he was born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later. Like, he doesn't know about all those security. But obviously it's pretty tragic for everyone in like Haiti. So with that, it's just kind of like Haiti. That's why I was like, oh, this might actually work. But anyway, a few more years go by. He's not writing as much as he's supposed to because he's got a contract with a publisher and the newspapers. And his college friend calls him up and says, you know what, I can see you're my publisher. Come out to my cottage in the middle of Colombia at the Nola State. You can write what you're supposed to be writing and leave Katie and back in Charleston with her parents for more. He goes out to that cottage and that's where he writes his last words. His last words were beholder of brief mortality. Translates to person with a short life. And then he coughs to run it through his cough. It landed on the page in a blood stain because he had tuberculosis. So, in that blood stain, and he dies right there. Just saying. And that blood stain looks like man writing. So, all the blood money official, 1 day a year at the Charleston Library Society on Halloween only. You have to be a member of the library to be able to go see it. The society is not a normal library, but the internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you what that blood stain looks like, and then we're going to go see if we can go through exactly they're using Katie and Randy as channels. So that's going to be the fun part of this, and hopefully we're going to get quite a bit out of this. Again, we're going to see how this works out with Katie. So here is his last page he's ever written. So you can see where the blood stain looks like a man writing, and we call it the blood. To me, this tells the whole story because this person with a short leg. Which, by the way, he was only 38 when he died. So I will also ask questions while we're over there that are in real time. So if the church bells start going off, I'm going to ask, hey, Henry, what sound do we hear? I want to make sure like what we're getting is legitimate stuff. I may do things like that. I'm also going to be asking yes/no questions. Those of you with spirit boxes that don't use or that are using earbuds, I want you to continue to listen. The answers may go to your devices. It happens all the time, especially that you're coming with the bells. I'm going to ask it. Like, lo and behold, I guarantee I'm going to ask it because it always gives us the answer. And I don't say anything big. What sound did you get out of the church? Maybe you don't spell it out for us directly, no interference, and just let me know how you get feeling on the way. So, they didn't call it one time because they were wrong. It happens. I caught it right wrong today. So, let's go channel these people and see what the hell we can get out of them. This is a good time, everybody.
The power must be dead on this one. The battery died?
Clicked so many times. You're like, hey, did my job.
Didn't run the battery down.
Like someone was getting hung in that tree. Dude, I'm not lying, dude. It's creepy. You want to go and check it out again?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like this. It's this branch over here, dude. It swear it looks like someone's getting fucking hung, dude. Where'd it go? There it is. There it is. See what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it was flashing.
Yeah, it'll group again. It'll be like a head, and where the fuck you at?
He said something about trees.
See, there's this motherfucker over here. What the fuck that is? But no, dude, like right over here, it's like it'll show like a head and like a body with 2 arms and 2 legs, dude. No, where the fuck you at? Fuck. Well, it was there.
It started when you first turned it on. I saw a couple, or when you first pointed it.
But yeah, dude, no lie, dude. I was kept moving on it because I thought it was messing with me. There you are. Yeah. Oh shit, I don't know.
Try again.
Yeah, that's what it's like to me though, dude. I was like, oh, shit, I don't know if I should say that.
Eric, I got you.
Look like there's somebody being hung on that thing. I walked in. Serious.
Alright,
I didn't want to say it too loud.
Two girls.
Okay, so Christians, 10 minutes, so any tip on it? If you are here, we would like to know what your occupation is, please. And two people sitting here listening. Ironically, one of them has the same name of your wife. Maybe we can make that connection and you can tell us. Name off what your wife's name was. Let's start off with your occupation, please.
Be aware of it.
I'm aware of what your occupation is. I need you to be aware of it.
Roll righteous.
Henry's and Ross. You need the first word.
Line of success.
She says right of success or light.
I thought mine.
Get it?
Henry, tell us your occupation, please. There's time before it gets too long, Henry. I'd like for you to start early. The other one's in here, we can see.
Gonna be alright.
Okay, good. Appreciate that. Let's go straight into your wife. And you can't really get a problem over here. And can you tell us the name of your wife?
Your bonus.
Tell us the name of your wife. This young lady to my right has the same name as
Protected.
your wife. I'll even take her maiden name.
Turning
Henry.
like that's
Maiden name is Rupert, by the way. So you can do it for the name. Henry, come through and tell us your wife's name. Those clients people, yeah, there's a lot of them. I'm a big group tonight. I don't like that. This group is much different than the group I had you that I had the other night. Saying that they're going to learn more about you. You need honesty. Kind of fill in the blanks of what I couldn't tell them.
bribery. Thanks for checking.
I'm always checking on you.
I get it.
I know, but you got to tell us a little bit of details. This is some big stuff. I don't want to have just a casual conversation. I need the nitty-gritty details.
Getting my bag instead. 2348-760.
Pretty solid proof here. No hecklers. Nobody giving us a hard time. Let's talk about ruling.
It's a long way from home.
Yeah.
What's that?
Can you tell me where he's buried? Very right next to him. It's just you, say yes. They can hear you. You know how this works.
$69.59.
More details.
Solid pine.
Who else is here with us?
Situation.
Dude.
Can't get it off my ear.
Yeah. Did it feel longer or shorter?
That was 12.
Did it feel longer or shorter?
Most people say it feels like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, I did not feel long.
Whenever you said that they were going
You good?
All right, here's why I'm excited. First off, you guys feel okay? Yeah. So I can kind of get into why I'm so excited. So perfect. I'm not going to over here so I can show everybody. So a couple things you said. I know I kind of went into away from Dr. Henry Timrod and kind of went into Dr. Ladd. Here's the reason why. First off, Randy said the number 59. Anybody remember the address where the doctor lived? 59 Church Street. That is 0.3 miles this way. So it's very close. We've been noticing more and more things have been coming through about traits about the house. And I've been kind of like, he said something, it was like something like solid pine or something made out of wood. I don't know what that house is made out of, but you better damn well believe I'm going to look into it when I get back. So I was excited about that. I'm like, okay, maybe we've got something else going on. We did ask the question again of like what Henry's job was. We didn't get a direct answer here. The word write came up on the word generator list, and then 2 words after that we had the word draw. I want you to think about what Dr. Ladd is famous for. Take 10 paces, turn, draw. So kind of take that for what it is. Then he actually, when I asked for the first name, we got a first name. He actually said the name Joseph. So I was pretty stoked about that. Yeah. So they actually had, I was actually counting on at least 5 things of relevance to Dr. Ladd specifically, and like one of these things, kind of relevance to every camera. Normally for me in a 10-minute time span, 4 direct answers is a win. Like, that is a successful session in this short amount of time. So a 2 would be slightly successful. Just what he heard during this time that we were in this space, and you're going to have a separate set of notes just from that. So I am going to, rewatch the video from the infrared camera so I can actually take notes of what was said in real time. I only do that if I feel like it's actually necessary in a case like this. This way I'm not writing things down, I can stay focused on what's actually happening. I'm stoked about this. Those of you with EMF detectors, I'm going to ask all 3 of you to take a quick lap through the grassy areas around the park, just 1 full lap. Let me know what you guys find. Everybody else, just kind of hang out here. I'm going to start collecting your devices and kind of, telling you what your data is going to look like. Wow, what a great session. Like, I'm actually really stoked. We had probably 6 solid things total that were coming out of the whole session. So, yeah, we were getting some answers back and forth. A lot of it came from you, but it doesn't matter. We were getting a lot of long
I'd do it again.
Yeah.
It's different every time.
It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Different every time. Stepping my own shoelaces. We have some selfies going on with the thermal, just so everybody knows. The camera was flipped around. That should be interesting to watch. You're going, what's going on with this?
Oh, jeez.
It happens.
Did you just
But I had a lot
stop
of.
that, or?
I had a